Did you know that one of the most powerful health secrets in the world has been sitting right there in your kitchen cabinet this whole time? That's right. Researchers, cardiologists, and nutritionists around the globe have been quietly studying a single golden liquid, extra virgin olive oil, and what they're finding is honestly remarkable, especially for people over the age of 50. Now, we're not talking about cooking with olive oil, although that's wonderful too. We're talking about something very specific. Drinking just 1 tablespoon of olive oil every single night right before you go to bed. It sounds simple, maybe even a little strange, but what this small nightly habit does inside your body while you sleep, well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and I think it's going to genuinely surprise you. Here's the thing, as we get older, our bodies change, our joints get stiffer, our hearts have to work harder, our blood sugar becomes harder to manage, and for so many of us, sleep itself becomes a real battle. Doctors hand out prescriptions, pharmacies fill them, and yet so many people are still struggling, still hurting, still not feeling like themselves. But what if something as natural, as affordable, and as ancient as olive oil could make a real difference? What if science was backing this up? Not just old folk wisdom, but actual peer-reviewed research from places like Harvard, the Mayo Clinic, and leading universities in Spain and Italy. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens to your body, organ by organ, system by system, when you make this one simple habit part of your nightly routine. What you learn today could genuinely change your life. Let's start with the one organ that seniors worry about more than almost anything else, your heart. Because here's something that most people don't fully understand. Your heart never stops working. From the moment you're born to the very last breath you take, that incredible muscle is beating somewhere between 60 and 100 times every single minute. It doesn't get a vacation. It doesn't get a sick day. And because of that, what you put into your body, especially in those quiet overnight hours when your heart is in its recovery phase, matters enormously. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine back in 2013, known as the Pre-Dimed Trial, followed over 7,000 adults across Spain for nearly 5 years. And what they found was stunning. The people who consumed extra virgin olive oil daily, about 4 tablespoons, had a nearly 30% lower risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes compared to those on a low-fat diet. 30%, that's not a small number. That's the kind of reduction that cardiologists spend careers trying to achieve with medication. Now, why does olive oil do this? The answer lies in something called oleic acid, a powerful monounsaturated fat that makes up roughly 73% of pure olive oil. When you consume oleic acid, it works directly to lower your LDL cholesterol, that's the bad kind, while simultaneously helping to raise your HDL cholesterol, the good kind that actually cleans your arteries. Think of it like a cleaning crew for your blood vessels. And here's the truly special part. When you take that tablespoon of olive oil right before bed, your body has the entire night to absorb it, process it, and let it get to work while you're resting, and your digestive system is calm. But the story doesn't stop at cholesterol. A 2020 study from Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that people who regularly consumed olive oil had significantly lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood, things like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, which are directly linked to the development of arterial disease and heart failure over time. Inflammation, you see, is like a slow fire burning inside your blood vessels. It damages the lining of your arteries, makes them stiff and narrow, and forces your heart to pump harder just to do its job. Olive oil's natural antioxidants, especially a compound called oleocanthal, act as a natural fire extinguisher for that inflammation. There's also something remarkable about the timing of your olive oil consumption. Research from the University of Granada in Spain showed that olive oil polyphenols, those potent plant compounds, are absorbed into the bloodstream most efficiently during periods of rest and low activity. That means nighttime consumption isn't just convenient, it's actually optimal. While you sleep, your liver, which plays a huge role in regulating cholesterol production, is working at full capacity. Giving it a dose of healthy, natural olive oil polyphenols right before that window opens may genuinely amplify the heart protective effects you're getting. So if you've been worried about your heart, if your doctor has mentioned cholesterol, if you've had family members who struggled with cardiovascular disease, please keep listening, because what we're about to talk about next goes even deeper into what this nightly olive oil habit can do for you. Now let's talk about something that affects millions of seniors every single day, but often goes completely unnoticed until it becomes a serious problem, and that's blood sugar. You might already know someone with type 2 diabetes, or maybe your own doctor has told you that your blood sugar is creeping up into what they call the pre-diabetic range. If so, what I'm about to share with you is something you'll want to hear very carefully. Blood sugar regulation is one of the most complex and delicate balancing acts your body performs. Every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin to help your cells absorb glucose from the blood. But as we age, that system can start to break down. Cells become resistant to insulin, blood sugar spikes and crashes. And over time, those fluctuations, even ones that don't rise to the level of diabetes, can cause fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, inflammation, and damage to your nerves and kidneys. It's a slow, quiet process. And most people don't feel it happening until the damage is already done. Here's where olive oil comes in as something genuinely extraordinary. A 2017 study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that adding olive oil to a meal significantly reduced the blood sugar spike that followed by as much as 22% compared to meals without it. That's because the oleic acid and polyphenols in olive oil slow down the rate at which your stomach empties after eating, which in turn slows the release of glucose into your bloodstream. No sudden spike, no dramatic crash, just a smooth, steady release that your pancreas can actually keep up with. And here's something even more fascinating. When you take olive oil right before bed, you're essentially setting up a protective barrier against what scientists call the dawn phenomenon. That's the natural rise in blood sugar that happens in the early morning hours as your body prepares to wake up and releases stress hormones like cortisol. For people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, this morning surge can be especially problematic. But the compounds in extra virgin olive oil have been shown to modulate those hormonal responses, helping to keep morning glucose levels more stable. Now let's talk about your gut, because this is an area that researchers are absolutely buzzing about right now. A 2019 study from the University of Bari in Italy found that the polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil act as powerful prebiotics, meaning they actually feed and nourish the beneficial bacteria living in your digestive tract. Your gut microbiome, the trillions of microorganisms that live in your intestines, is now understood to play a critical role in everything from immune function to mental health to weight regulation. When that ecosystem is healthy and balanced, your whole body benefits. When it's disrupted, it can trigger inflammation, poor nutrient absorption, constipation, bloating, and even mood disorders. Drinking olive oil before bed gives your gut a quiet, uninterrupted window to absorb those beneficial polyphenols without competition from other foods. Many seniors who try this report that within just a few weeks, they notice improvements in digestion, less bloating, and more regular bowel movements. Something that might seem like a small thing, but makes an enormous difference in how you feel each day. Your gut deserves care too, and this simple nightly habit may be one of the kindest things you can do for it. Here's something that I think is one of the most exciting areas of olive oil research happening right now, and it has to do with your brain, because let's be honest, one of the fears that weighs most heavily on seniors and on the loved ones who care for them is the fear of cognitive decline, the fear of forgetting, the fear of losing yourself, one memory at a time. And while there's no magic cure for conditions like Alzheimer's disease or dementia, the science emerging around olive oil and brain health is genuinely giving researchers and the rest of us real reason for hope. A groundbreaking study published in the Annals of Clinical and Translational Neurology in 2019, conducted by researchers at Temple University, found something remarkable in mice fed a diet rich in extra virgin olive oil. These animals showed dramatically reduced levels of amyloid plaques and tau tangles in their brains, two of the hallmark features of Alzheimer's disease. Even more impressively, the olive oil group showed significantly better performance on memory and learning tasks compared to the control group. Now, mice are not people, of course, but these findings were significant enough to launch ongoing human trials, and the early results are pointing in the same direction. The reason olive oil appears to benefit the brain comes back, once again, to those remarkable polyphenols, particularly oleocanthal. This compound has been shown to enhance the brain's ability to clear out toxic waste proteins, a process that happens primarily during sleep. Yes, your brain actually cleans itself while you sleep using a recently discovered system called the glymphatic system. Think of it as your brain's dishwasher, running a deep clean cycle every night. And oleocanthal appears to help that system work more efficiently, potentially reducing the buildup of the proteins associated with neurodegeneration. A 2021 research review from the Mediterranean Neurological Institute also highlighted that the anti-inflammatory properties of olive oil help protect the myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerve fibers, from damage caused by oxidative stress. When that sheath is protected, signals between brain cells travel faster and more reliably. That means sharper thinking, quicker recall, and more mental clarity throughout the day. Many people over 60 describe a persistent feeling of mental fog, that sense that your thinking is just a little slower than it used to be. Olive oil's neuroprotective compounds may directly address some of the underlying biology behind that feeling. And then there's sleep itself. One of the most overlooked benefits of the nightly olive oil habit is its effect on sleep quality. Research published in the journal Nutrients in 2020 found a significant correlation between high olive oil consumption and longer, more restorative sleep patterns, particularly in adults over 60. The researchers theorized that olive oil's anti-inflammatory effects help to reduce the low-grade physical discomfort and inflammatory signaling that can wake people up in the night or prevent them from reaching deep, restorative sleep stages. If you've been struggling with waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning or feeling like you never truly rest, this is worth paying attention to. So your brain, your memory, your mental sharpness, and your sleep, all of them may benefit from 1 quiet tablespoon of olive oil each night. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But the science keeps pointing in the same direction. And speaking of direction, let's talk about one more critical area where this golden oil may genuinely change your life. I want to talk to you directly for a moment. If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you feel is stiffness in your knees, your hips, your hands, your lower back, you are not alone. Joint pain and inflammation are among the most common complaints among adults over 50, and they are one of the leading reasons that people lose their independence as they age. When it hurts to walk to the mailbox, when it hurts to open a jar, when it hurts to simply get out of bed in the morning, life gets smaller, and nobody wants a smaller life. Here's what most people don't know: that stiffness and pain you feel is in large part the result of chronic systemic inflammation. Your immune system, working overtime, sends inflammatory signals to your joints, your connective tissue, and your muscles. And over time, that chronic inflammation doesn't just cause pain. It degrades cartilage, damages bone, and accelerates the aging of nearly every organ in your body. Inflammation, many scientists now believe, is at the root of most of the chronic diseases of aging: heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, and yes, arthritis. Olive oil, and specifically the oleocanthal compound it contains, has been compared in scientific literature to ibuprofen, a common over-the-counter anti-inflammatory medication. A study published in Nature back in 2005 by researchers at the Monell Chemical Senses Center showed that oleocanthal inhibits the same inflammatory pathways as ibuprofen with a similar mechanism of action. The researchers actually noted that daily consumption of about 50 milliliters of high-quality extra virgin olive oil delivers roughly 10% of the anti-inflammatory effect of an adult dose of ibuprofen. That might not sound like a lot, but taken every day, every night, without the stomach side effects, without the risk of kidney stress, without the concerns about long-term medication use, it adds up to something profound. For seniors living with osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, the implications are significant. A 2015 clinical trial published in the journal Inflammation found that participants who supplemented their diet with extra virgin olive oil showed measurable reductions in joint tenderness, morning stiffness, and inflammatory biomarkers after just 3 months. 3 months. That's a remarkably short time to see meaningful change in a condition that many people have been told they simply have to live with. And the people in that study weren't doing anything dramatic, and they were simply adding olive oil to their daily routine. But perhaps the most compelling argument for making olive oil a nightly habit comes from the science of longevity itself. The Mediterranean diet, which is built on a foundation of extra virgin olive oil, is consistently associated with longer, healthier lives in population studies from Greece, Italy, and Spain. A 2022 analysis from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health followed over 90,000 Americans over nearly 3 decades and found that those with the highest olive oil consumption had a 19% lower risk of dying from any cause compared to those who consumed little or no olive oil, 19%. Think about what that means for the years ahead of you, because here's the truth. Getting older doesn't have to mean getting sicker. It doesn't have to mean more pain, more pills, more limitations. The research is telling us again and again that the choices you make every single day, even something as small as 1 tablespoon of olive oil before bed, can meaningfully shift the trajectory of your health. Not someday, starting tonight. So there you have it. From your heart to your gut, from your brain to your joints, from your blood sugar to your sleep, extra virgin olive oil taken in that simple, quiet moment before bed may be one of the most powerful natural health habits available to you right now. Science is backing this up. Ancient wisdom is backing this up. And thousands of people just like you are already experiencing the benefits. Now, one important note before you start, always choose extra virgin olive oil. It's the least processed form and the one with the highest concentration of the polyphenols and antioxidants we've been talking about. Look for oils that are dark bottled and ideally ones that have a harvest date on the label. Start with just 1 teaspoon if you're not used to it, and work your way up to a tablespoon over a week or two. And as always, talk to your doctor before making any change to your routine, especially if you're managing a chronic condition or taking medications. If this video opened your eyes to something new, if it gave you hope or information you didn't have before, then please take 2 seconds and hit that like button right now. It truly does make a difference in helping others find this content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because we share new health videos every week, and every one of them is made with you in mind. Share this video with a family member or a friend who could use this information. You never know whose life you might be changing by passing along something this important. And drop a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me, have you ever tried drinking olive oil? What have you noticed? Or is this something you're hearing about for the first time today? I'd genuinely love to know. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself because you deserve to feel good every single day. It's never too late to choose health, one small habit at a time.